Hey, not sure what you've been doing during quarantine life. Hopefully you're not making videos in a blizzard, but let's see what some of our friends in the Troy Student Ministries community have been up to the last couple of weeks.
So here we go. We're about to cut this.
And we're on already. Tips. And you want to go like, I don't know. You want to go again. This is the current update. Here's all my hair. A little bit on the ground too, but here it is. Did it.
Alright you guys, it is 3 p.m. and I just woke up because I work night shift, but I need some breakfast right now, so I'm going to have a little 3 p.m. breakfast smoothie. You ready for this? I have my fun little blender here, going to add a banana. I always start with a banana. Some of my favorite frozen fruit. I always add some greens because you can't even taste them and they're good for you. I add peanut butter because honestly peanut butter is my love language. And then we just blend. So good. Also, if all of your cups are accidentally in the dishwasher, you can use a mason jar and you get 100 points for aesthetic.
What's up, Kensington-Troy? My name is Eden McCullough, and I'm currently a sophomore at Rochester High School, and I'm here to welcome you to week 7 of our quarantine services. I really hope you're taking this time to be still and hear what God has for you in this season. I know it can be tough, but Kensington is providing us with a space where we can connect with a lot of strong people, and so I hope you're relying on them to give you comfort and know that I'm praying for you. One fun thing I'm doing over quarantine is updating my high school journal. I'll show you a little peek. Okay. I do homecoming and any events that I have for the school year. I'm putting lots of pictures and ticket stubs in my journal, and it's a great time if you wanted to start one too to work on that. And yeah, enjoy the service.
Hey everyone, when I was going into 7th grade, my family, we moved across the country, and it was the worst thing that ever happened. I did not want to move. I was angry. I was so upset that my parents would uproot me from where I was totally established and loving life, and we moved across the country.
When you're sliding in the third and you just a turd diarrhea.
And I'll be honest, I felt like God wasn't there. And last week we started the story of Joseph, and I bet if you press pause on many of the scenes of Joseph's story, I bet he would have felt exactly the same way. God, where are you in this? He's beat up by his brothers because not only is he his father's favorite, but he's been telling them about this dream that God's given him about how he's going to rule over them and rule over the land. And so they throw him in a pit and they sell him into slavery. And then in Egypt, when he's in slavery, things kind of are going okay for him. He moves up the ranks of the household. This guy named Potiphar that he was working for, he's second in command in Potiphar's house. And then Potiphar's wife is kind of oh, hello, how you doing? Tries to pull some moves on Joseph, and he's like, no, whoa, quiet down, angry sports car.
Maybe this smart car, maybe the guy got away, and he's celebrating by driving all the way out to Disneyland.
And Joseph's like, no, I'm not gonna dishonor my boss that way. And so he runs away, but Potiphar's wife accuses him of trying to make some unwanted advances onto her. And again, Joseph's thrown into prison. Man, just all of these moments until finally it culminates, like I said last week, in this beautiful ending where Joseph's dream that God has given him is fulfilled. But all throughout his lifetime, there would have been moments where he said, God, where are you in this? Where are you in my story? And I just want you to know that I don't know where you are in your story. I know in the times that we live in today that it's probably probably moments where you're saying, God, where are you in this? Why are things going the way that they're going? But I just want you to know that when we can't see the big picture, and even in those moments where it feels like God isn't there, that God is with you, that he is very present in your situation. I know for me, looking back, I didn't like the move when I was young. And I was upset, and I was overwhelmed, and I was frustrated with God. But looking back, I see that was the best thing that could have happened for me, because I made some great new friends that really spoke some great truth into my life. I had a great school. I had a great church. I had some really great opportunities that were afforded me that I otherwise would not have had. And so I don't know where you're at, but I just want you to know that God is with you in your story.
You know, Thaddeus, when you say the word big picture, or the phrase big picture, what comes to mind is a puzzle. Maybe many of you are doing puzzles right now in your free time, or maybe your parents are, but you have this giant picture, or this big picture, made up of all sorts of small pieces. And when you look at just the piece isolated by itself, you don't know what that picture looks like, right? We don't know what the edges look like, and what the beauty could be lying within the bigger picture. And here's the thing, like, God knows the big picture. He knows what tomorrow looks like, and he knows what the following week looks like. He understands each story that we're all living in. Like, we all have a piece that we're living and experiencing. And God knows how all of these pieces will eventually come together and create this big picture. And as we go through the life of Joseph, we see that there's these moments in his life where there's these moments where there's question, and there's uncertainty, and there's mystery, and there's pain, and there's confusion, and there's these things that happen to him that he couldn't control. And at any moment in time, in any moment of his story, he could have paused, and he could have lost faith, or had doubts, or had questions. But here's an incredible 5 words that we find in the scriptures. In Genesis chapter 39, verse 2. 5 words. It says, "The Lord was with Joseph." And in all those moments, and when he was thrown into prison and can you imagine for just a moment, like, you get sold by your brothers into slavery, and just imagine, like, Joseph on his cell phone, and all we can do right now is we can text each other, we can FaceTime, we can jump onto social media, but all of our language and all of our conversation happens through technology. So for a moment, just put Joseph into a world of technology like we have with cell phones, and he gets into this scuffle with his brothers, and then they throw him into a pit, and so he texts his homies, "I was thrown into a pit by my brothers. Like, they're mad at me, they want to kill me, but instead they threw me down into a pit." And then you fast forward, and they decide to not leave him in the pit, but they decide to sell him into slavery. And so that follow-up text is, "Good news, I'm not in the pit anymore. Bad news, I was sold into slavery." And then there was all these other moments going forward in his story. And at any moment, Joseph could have focused on that little piece that he was living. But we know in the story that God was with him. We see these 5 little words that says God was with Joseph through all of the good and all of the bad. And I wonder how that could bring us encouragement. You know, we can't change our circumstances, but maybe knowing that God is with us can change us. Maybe knowing that God is with us on this journey and in this circumstance and in this time, maybe knowing that God is right there with us, maybe that'll change our perspective. Maybe that'll change the way we navigate relationships, whether they're in the home or not in the home. And so here are 2 things that I want to challenge all of us with, is let's be real. Let's be real with our emotions, and be honest with how we're feeling and what we're dealing with and how we're handling it all. Let's just be real. Let's be real with each other, and let's be real with God. And the second one is let us remind ourselves that God is with us. And as we remind ourselves, may we also remind each other that God is with us, just as God was with Joseph all of those years ago in the pit of that well, or in the prison that he found himself in. God was with him, and God is with us too. So may we be a people that are open and honest and real with the circumstances and the things that we're dealing with, but may we also be a people that are reminded on a regular basis, on the daily, that God is with us. May we look around us and see the small things that really are the beautiful pictures of God's presence in our life. So that's my encouragement and my challenge for us today as we launch into and continue this conversation about what do we do when we don't know what to do. In the beautiful picture, the beautiful thing is that God knows the end of the story. So may we find rest in knowing that God is with us. Thanks, and we'll catch you next week. And we're just going to let the hair do what the hair wants to do. All right? That's all for now.